Hello everyone! If you are watching this video, that means you are in Unit 5 of English 4 and you are almost done with this semester. Just a couple more steps. So in this video, we're going to talk about the analysis paper that you are going to be submitting on the Unit 5 test. So first off, what is this assignment? This assignment is an analytic paper. You are going to choose a poem of at least 14 lines. Why 14 lines? Because that gives you enough stuff to talk about, to analyze. Examine how the poetic devices create meaning. That's the analysis part. 3, no opinions. 4, third person. No I, no you, no we. We're talking about the poem, we're talking about the author, we're talking about the devices. Number 5, this is worth 40% of your test grade, so you won't be able to pass the test without it. Number 6 is 500 to 700 word essay, and that seems like a lot maybe, but trust me, it's not. And I'm going to show you how to break down and organize the essay in another video. And number 7, it does need to be organized in paragraphs with a clear thesis in the introduction. So we're going to take this step by step. First, what is analysis? What is the purpose of analysis? Well, an analysis is a detailed examination of something, typically to make a conclusion or uncover something. We analyze literature. We analyze evidence. Not to be grotesque, but we analyze bodies in order to understand how they work. Someone had to pick apart and cut apart a heart in order to see how it functions. Someone had to cut open a brain to understand what was going on inside. We look at brain impulses and electrical signals in order to figure out what it's doing and why it's doing what it's doing, if that makes sense. So we are looking at the smaller parts, at the details, at the elements in order to understand the whole picture and how it all works together. And so with poetry, we look at the devices in order to understand how the message of the poem is created. Because poetry is written because someone has something to say, someone has emotions or ideas or something they want to get out to a bigger audience. So they write a poem and they use these devices to get out that message. What devices do they use? Well, first off, theme, the message, the main idea of the poem, the thing that you're mostly going to be analyzing. And that's gotten across through figurative language, similes, metaphors, alliteration, personification, etc. You can Google a list of figurative language and poetry, and you're going to find a lot. Mood, how the author is trying to make you feel. Tone, the narrator, how the narrator feels about the topic. Context, what was going on in history, the author, what was going on in their life, current events at the time. Characters, narrator, the narrator may not be the author. Setting, structure, what is the rhyme scheme? Is there a rhyme scheme? What are the stanzas like? Diction, that's the word choice, which words are being chosen for what connotation. Imagery, how is the author creating an image and why are they creating this specific image? And punctuation and capitalization. So once, let's say we've already analyzed and we need to write our thesis. I am going to show you a technique of how to analyze later, but first, let's talk about the thesis, because the thesis is one of the most important sentences in an essay. It should go at the end of the introduction paragraph, and it tells the reader exactly what you are going to be analyzing and how you are going to be analyzing it. So I got this information from the University of A&M, from A&M University, and then I'll show you a simpler version. But let's start with this. So the basic structure of a thesis is statement of meaning, how meaning is conveyed. So the example they give is the statement of the meaning. T.S. Eliot's A Love Story of J. Alfred Prufrock is about a man imprisoned in the mediocre life he has chosen, dreaming of things he lacks the courage to do. So that's kind of what the poem is about. That's the purpose of it, the message maybe trying to get across. How meaning is conveyed. To convey the ordinary and oppressive world Prufrock lives in, Eliot talks about the smoke and smog, clinking coffee spoons, and trivial social aspirations of women chattering in a drawing room. Okay, so what is this this person who's analyzing this poem noticing about how the poem is constructed? So once we put these two things together, we can come up with a thesis. So this example, in the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, Eliot writes about a man imprisoned in the mediocre life he has chosen, dreaming of things he lacks the courage to do, semicolon. Eliot creates his portrait of a trapped man, that's kind of the message, by alluding to the fantastical world Prufrock dreams of and contrasting it with the oppressive ordinariness of his real life. And another way that we can do this to kind of simplify that, what is the theme and what are the devices that allude to the theme? Within the poem by the author, device 1, 2, 3, create the message of blank. If you write or use this more simple template, you'll have a perfectly fine thesis. You have a clear topic of the poem by whoever author, clear devices being listed, and the message that's going to be created by analyzing those devices. So either way you want to think of the thesis is fine if you use this one or this one, but you need to have a strong thesis. So before we even write the thesis, we need to think about how to analyze. So if you're struggling with the analysis portion of it, I suggest using the how or why technique. With this technique, we keep pushing ourselves to dig deeper into the poem and try to pick it apart and uncover something more meaningful. So, for example, let's go back to the, cadaver example. We have the dead body. What am I looking at? Let's say I want to look at the heart. Okay, so I notice there are different chambers of the heart. Okay, why are they there? Okay, something about blood going through these different chambers. Okay, why? I don't know much about the heart, but if we keep asking that and if we keep looking at more specific things, we should be able to uncover something. So first we need to identify the message of the poem, the theme, and then identify a few literary devices. And then ask why or how. And I say channel your inner 3-year-old. Mine is definitely in that stage where she will not stop asking why to every single thing I say. But it does make me get more specific and detailed until she finally says, oh, and walks away. So in this example that I'm going to give you, this is just a made-up poem of trying to give you an example of this technique. So let's say I am talking about personification. The author personifies the sky. Okay, why? Well, the personification of the sky makes it seem like it's alive. Well, yeah, that's the purpose of personification. Why do we want the sky to seem like it's alive? Well, because the author is drawing a connection between the sky and the character. Why? Why do we need to draw that connection? By connecting the living sky with a sad character, the author creates a message of hope. Okay, so now we're kind of getting at the theme there and how that theme is created through the personification of the sky. Now, again, this is a made up little poem, but you see how that why or how technique can be applied. And in another video, I am going to talk about annotating poems and then walk you through the process of coming up with a thesis and using this how or why technique on a real poem.